Again, let me show you a little bit better. I'm going to reset my windows from -5 to 5, -5 to 5. So I reset my windows here from -5 to 5, at -5 to 5, zooms it in just a little bit. So your vertex is at -1, -3 in your y direction. Okay, and that seems to be what it looks like because our leading coefficient is 2, positive, it's going up. Positive means it's going up right over here. That's called the leading coefficient, guys. Find the vertex of this function. Example number 7 is just a little bit more difficult to do because it is -4. So let's rewrite the question. Equals question mark. The function looks f of x is equal to -1/4 x squared minus 3x plus 3, and we know that the vertex of your x-coordinate is equal to -b over 2a, and so that becomes, that's my a, that's my b, that's my c. -b is going to be negative of -3 is positive 3 all over 2 times -1/4. That's equal to 3 over 2 times -1/4 is -1/2. How do we get rid of the complex fraction? You multiply it by the reciprocal, -2 over 1. 3 times -2 over 1 is -6. So that's your x-coordinate. And then we have to figure out our y-coordinate. We plug it into this equation right over here. F of -6 is equal to -1/4 times -6 squared minus 3 times -6 plus 3. -6 squared is 36 times 1/4 is -9. So that becomes -9 plus 18 plus 3. So that's 9 plus 3 is 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. Don't forget to plug in your x value in your function to get your y value. Okay, and that should be quite helpful for having you do some of these problems. I'm not going to graph this, but it seems to be pretty right. I don't know, should I graph this? I'm not going to graph this. So when you have this function, because it's going to be out of scope in terms of like looking at my x, y coordinate here. Let me see if I made any mistakes. It's going to be over 2a, it's going to be 3 over 2 times -1/4, it's going to be -1/2, that's going to be 6. Okay, good. It seems to be right. Alright, we'll go on to the next question now. It says, example number 8, given the graph of the quadratic function below, write the equation of the function. So we're trying to find the equation of this function. Well, we're given the vertex right over here. And so the vertex is going to be 1, 0. It goes in the 1 x direction and in the y direction 0. So far, they call that the standard form, vertex form, same thing. Function of x is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. Memorize this. They call that the standard form. Okay, that's your h, that's your k. So the function looks something like this. F of x equals a times x minus 1 squared plus 0. We really don't need that. You don't have to put plus 0. There's your k right there. There's your 1 right there. Okay. They also, so you need to find the value of a right over here, and they give you this point right over here. And always try to use the one that goes through the vertex or something that's pretty easy to find. And so the coordinate of that is going to be 0, 1. Not 1, 0. It goes 0 in the x direction and goes up 1 in the y direction. So we're going to plug it in. That's your y value. 1 is equal to a times 0 minus 1. That's your x value squared. So if I distribute that out, 1 is equal to a times 0 minus 1 is negative 1 squared. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. So our a becomes 1. So the equation becomes f of x equals a. You have to figure that out first. We don't need that 1 anymore. If you want to put a little 1 right there, that's fine, but you really don't need it. X minus 1 squared. And let's see if that looks kind of right. I'm going to verify our calculator here. Press the y equals button. I'm going to clear that. We're going to write it out. Parentheses, x minus 1 squared. There's your square button right over here. And on the window, I'm going to go from negative 4 to positive 7. Negative 4 to positive 7. On the y direction, I'm going to go negative 2 to about 6. And if we graph that, it should look very similar to the equation that's given. Okay. Another thing to note is it looks like it's a standard form. Move to the right 1 unit. You should learn about this last chapter, right? Chapter 2, I believe. So this function is kind of like a function y equals x squared. And then if you shift it to the right 1 unit, it's going to be y equals x minus 1 squared. That's shifted to the right 1 unit. Okay. Next question I'm going to do is example number 9. Given the graph of this quadratic function below, write the function. So you want to write the equation of the line, or not, excuse me, equation of the parabola, parabolic function. They give you the vertex right over here. It's going to be 2, 1. So that's your h, that's your k, your x coordinate and your y coordinate. H comes before k, x comes before y. It's a good way to memorize these. So the function form, they call it the standard form, is a times x minus h squared plus k. So the function looks something like this. We had to figure out what this value a is. X minus 2 squared plus k is 1. We had to figure out what a is, and as I previously stated, this seems to be a good point. It's at 5. So the coordinate is going to be 0, 5, not 5, 0. Don't forget, it's 0 in the x direction and up 5 in the y direction. So that's our y value, which is 5 is equal to a times 0 minus 2 squared plus 1. So 5. I'm going to subtract the 1 right over here. So that becomes 4 equals a times 0 minus 2 is negative 2 squared is going to be 4. So a must equal 1 again. So the function looks like a, there it is, it's going to be our 1. We don't need that. X on this equation, excuse me, minus 2 squared plus 1. We notice that the leading coefficient right over here is 1. It's positive, it has to go up. If it turns out to be negative, it should be looking like it's going to go down, but that's not the case, so we're good to go.